For most of my life, I believed I was one of the lucky ones. My wife and I met when we were both in our early 20s. We weren't rich, we didn't have perfect lives, but we had something that felt real. We built everything together from the ground up. Tiny apartment, second-hand furniture, cheap takeout dinners on the floor because we couldn't afford a proper dining table yet. But we were happy. Years later, we had a house, 2 kids, and careers that finally felt stable. From the outside, we probably looked like one of those couples people envy. And honestly, I thought we were. Looking back now, the signs were there long before everything exploded. I just didn't want to see them. It started when my wife got promoted at work. She had been working toward that promotion for years, and I was genuinely proud of her when she got it. Her new position meant more responsibility, longer hours, and occasionally staying late. At first, nothing seemed strange. But slowly, things started changing. She stopped texting me during the day like she used to. She became more distant at home. When we watched TV together, she was always on her phone. If I asked who she was texting, she'd casually say it was work. Which made sense. Except it never stopped being work. Late-night messages. Smiling at the phone. Turning the screen away from me without realizing she was doing it. Still, I told myself I was overthinking things. Marriage changes people. Stress happens. Life gets busy. But then something happened that I couldn't ignore. One night she came home extremely late. Around midnight. That had never happened before. When I asked why she was so late, she said the team had stayed after work to finish a project and then grabbed drinks together. It sounded reasonable. But something about the way she said it felt rehearsed. You know that strange feeling when your gut tells you something isn't right? That feeling started living in my chest. Over the next few weeks, the distance between us kept growing. She stopped initiating conversations. She barely touched me. And our once normal relationship slowly turned into something that felt like living with a roommate. One night I woke up around 2 a.m. and realized she wasn't in bed. I walked into the living room and saw her sitting on the couch, texting someone with a huge smile on her face. When she noticed me standing there, the smile disappeared instantly. She locked her phone and asked why I was awake. That moment was the first time I truly felt something break inside me. A few days later, something small happened that would eventually destroy everything. She forgot her phone at home. She almost never did that. She had already left for work when I noticed it on the kitchen counter. At first, I didn't think much of it. I figured she'd realize soon and come back for it. But an hour passed. Then 2. Her phone started buzzing constantly. Message after message. I tried ignoring it. I really did. But curiosity slowly turned into dread. Finally, I picked it up. The lock screen lit up. And that's when I saw the message that changed everything. It read, "Last night was amazing. I can't stop thinking about you." My stomach dropped. I stared at the screen for what felt like 10 minutes. Part of me wanted to put the phone down and pretend I never saw it. But I couldn't. The phone buzzed again. Another message. "Are we still meeting tonight?" I unlocked the phone. Her password hadn't changed in years. What I saw next felt like someone slowly draining all the air out of my lungs. Dozens of messages. Photos. Inside jokes. Plans. They had been talking for months. Maybe longer. The worst part? The man she was talking to wasn't a stranger. It was her coworker. Someone she had mentioned casually in conversations before. Someone I had actually met once at a company event. The messages weren't just flirting. They were detailed. They talked about sneaking away during lunch breaks. Meeting after work. Even making fun of me. One message said, "He has no idea." another said. I feel bad sometimes, but I can't stop. I sat there in the kitchen reading everything until my hands started shaking. My entire life suddenly felt like a lie. The house. The family. All of it. When she came home that evening, I didn't say anything right away. I just watched her. She walked into the house, kissed me on the cheek, and asked how my day was. Like nothing was wrong. Like she hadn't spent the last several months living a completely different life behind my back. I waited until the kids went to bed. Then I placed her phone on the table. Her face turned pale instantly. She didn't ask what was wrong. She already knew. For a few seconds, neither of us said anything. Then she whispered one word. Okay. Not denial. Not confusion. Just acceptance. I asked her how long it had been going on. She started crying immediately. At first she said it just happened. Then she said it was a mistake. Eventually, the real truth started coming out. The affair had been going on for almost 8 months. 8 months. 8 months of lies. 8 months of pretending everything was normal. 8 months of kissing me goodbye in the morning and going to meet another man. I asked her why. That question broke her. She said she didn't even fully know. She said the attention made her feel exciting again. She said things between us had become predictable. Predictable. That word still echoes in my head. Predictable apparently meant loyal. Stable. Trusting. Everything I thought marriage was supposed to be. She begged me not to leave. She cried harder than I had ever seen her cry. But something inside me had already changed. The woman sitting across from me didn't feel like my wife anymore. She felt like a stranger wearing her face. That night I slept on the couch. The next morning I started calling lawyers. People always imagine betrayal happening in dramatic moments. Screaming. Throwing things. Huge fights. But the truth is, it's usually quiet. Cold. Empty. That's what it felt like walking through the house after everything came out. Just silence. Months later, I'm still trying to rebuild my life. Some days are easier than others. But one thing I've learned through all of this is simple. Trust is fragile. And sometimes the smallest mistake, like forgetting a phone on the kitchen counter, can expose an entire hidden life.